Thank you very much. Very good. Okay. Class?
Yes.
Okay, we're just going to quickly review some of the power teaching tools that we've been learning as we go. If I say class, you say?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So I'm also going to be keeping track if we have high enthusiasm and engagement. That would be a what? Happy face or extra credit, right? And if we have low engagement and no enthusiasm, that would be a frowny face or extra credit. Okay. So there's really only one word, an acronym, that you need to know about the life work of Alfred Binet. It is Jim BVT. If you would please turn to your neighbor and say the word Jim BVT.
Jim BVT.
Okay. Jim BVT. It stands for, the J stands for judgment. I, intellectual development. M stands for mechanism. B stands for Binet-Simon test. V stands for variable, and T stands for testing in the US. Okay? If you would right now, can you turn to a shoulder buddy and tell your shoulder buddy what Jim BVT stands for and how you're going to remember the life work of Alfred Binet. Teach.
Okay.
Okay.
Class.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, that would be, I saw good engagement, some enthusiasm, but I would still go with an extra credit, so that would be one on the, I'm not going to mark it, but that would be, you're up one. So good job, okay? All right, let's talk. I'm just going to introduce now judgment. Alfred Binet believed that an important part of intelligence was judgment. Can anyone tell me why they think that might be important? Why would judgment be an important part of intelligence? Anyone have any thoughts? Randy?
Like I said, is the ability to reason.
Yeah, okay, and we use judgment every day in our life, right? Whether when we wake up in the morning to when we go to bed at night, okay? Judgment, okay? Intellectual development. Alfred Binet, who lived in France, he began to focus his work on intellectual development when his two children were born. And a lot of his research involved his two kids. Can anyone think of another researcher that we've learned who used his children in some of his research? Piaget, very good, okay. He also worked in a lab as a researcher at a French university called the Sorbonne. Everyone say that with me, Sorbonne. Sorbonne, good, okay. He was, in 1904, he was asked to be a part of a team to develop a mechanism. Another word for mechanism is just a tool to come up with a test to help educate kids. Let me just quickly refer to what I was saying. Basically, an alternative education for all students. Okay, so this test included both easy questions and questions that were sort of in between, medium, as well as difficult questions. For example, okay, can you follow my finger with your eye? Okay, that would be kind of an easy question. Okay, a student might be given 3 words and have to make a sentence using 3 words. Maybe more of a medium question. A more difficult question might be something like this: a priest, a financial advisor, and I think it was, all right, I'm going to have to refer to this one. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Okay, a lawyer, a priest, and a doctor show up at your door. What is taking place? Okay, so you have to draw an inference based on that. Okay, he and along with his collaborator Simon created a test they came up with this test that had questions that were both medium and hard, okay? So if you would right now, just turn to your neighbor and tell them the first four things that the first four letters in in Jim BVT. Can you do that right now?
Okay.
Teach.
Okay.
Thank you. Class?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, I saw good discussion. I would say that's 2 checks for the happy face. Okay, good job. Nice job. Okay. So after Binet and his collaborator Simon came up with this test, Binet came up with a theory of intelligence that his theory said that intelligence was variable in children, meaning that it was not static. Okay, it was constantly changing. It was impacted by environment, similar to Piaget, and it was not based solely on genetics. So different from the person that we learned earlier, I guess I would say Galton, right? And he also said that this particular test could only be used on children from similar backgrounds, okay, which is a very important point. Okay. Now, around this time, a testing movement began to develop in the United States around the turn of the century. And it took on a much more diabolical tone than what was originally intended by Binet and Simon. Okay, for example, Goddard, who we're going to be learning about in the future, used mental testing to prove the superiority of the white race. Okay, another educational theorist brought the Binet-Simon test to the United States and had this objective in mind when he developed it using Americans. The goal was to curtail the reproduction of feeble-mindedness, the elimination of crime, pauperism, and industrial inefficiency. Okay? What do you think Alfred Binet did when he found out about this? Turn to your shoulder, buddy. How do you think Alfred Binet responded to some of these changes that were happening in the United States to a test that he originally developed? Class?
Yes.
All right. Can I get a few people to share? How do you think Alfred Binet reacted when he found out about this? Anyone like to share? Anyone have any thoughts? Michael?
I mean, when a person puts an assessment together like that, they usually write it in a manner that they want it.
Right.
So when it's changed, the validity of the test
Right.
goes out the door.
Right. Okay. So, do you think he probably would have been
Probably not too excited.
probably not too excited about it? Yeah. Okay. Do anyone else want to add to that? Okay. So essentially, what happened was he did speak out a little bit about this, but he was kind of a recluse in France, and he didn't travel outside of France. And actually, the ironic thing about his test is that it actually was never implemented during his lifetime. Okay, he was asked to create this, and it was never implemented in France. So he wasn't really part of professional organizations, and he did not travel outside of France to see what was going on in other countries. And it was for this reason, I think, that he wasn't able to maybe get to the real heart of what he had started in the first place. So, just to conclude, to sum it up, okay, if you would just turn to your neighbor. How are you going to remember Alfred Binet using Jim BVT? Can you turn to your neighbor very quickly and tell them? Teach.
Okay.
Judgment, intellectual development, variable.
Class?
Yes.
All right. Good engagement, good discussion. That's 3 checks. Okay, definitely an extra credit. Good job. Thank you very much.